And I was going to wonder about that. So, I mean, when you think about a British, I mean, because since the Beatles, there weren't many British acts that could go to America and create a fan base out there. Did you feel that that was the big challenge? Did you recognize the challenge of, because they had their own R&B and music in there, so to break that is never an easy thing.
No, not easy at all. But I think because the music was so great, and I think that is what stands out when you do great songs, you have great production, and the music holds its own, the songs. You can go anywhere in the world. In America was like big because the acts out there were fantastic. We looked up to those guys. Even before we became a group, we'd listened to a lot of American music. So, and I think a lot of British 80s acts back then were trying to emulate that sound anyway.
Yeah.
But knowing that you're traveling somewhere where it's like, wow, these guys just outstanding with anything and everything they do musically, but knowing that we had great songs, pop songs.
Yeah.
But, they've stood the test of time. And I think that was prevalent back then because my dad loved to use American musicians on our song.
Wow.
Yeah, dad was like, my kids are having the best of the best. Not the British musicians. We used a lot of British session musicians, but, as we got older and our career expanded a bit more, Dad was like, yeah, we're going to get Paul Jackson, we're going to get Greg Fillinghayes, we're going to get this guy, that guy.
Wow.
And he was all about the sound and the production and delivering great pieces of work.
Do you realize because I remember I posted one of your songs on my page, and Jimmy Jam from Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis really say, this was one of the great ones, and then I look back at how the style and image that you guys had, and I remember that when they were giving Janet Jackson, there was that sense of her look, especially in Control, and that album. She had the sort of the styling that you guys sort of had, did you guys realize that there's some influences that you might have had on sort of her career, looks and sound?
Oh, wow. I would love to so. Because like New Edition at the time and Ready for the World, all these bands that were out and these groups, Janet, we were just little trailblazers, huge trailblazers, And are you talking stylistically, like musically, with the genre?
Well, there's a combination because you guys looked like royalty. I mean, I remember growing up with Adam and the Ants. He always dressed like, wow, this is a rock star. The way he dressed, Adam and the Ants, but when you guys came out, you didn't just wear jeans and t-shirts. You looked like a cross, but it's like something we see like Louis the XIII or something like that. But the hair and the style, it just looked very rich, almost like how Michael Jackson dressed so differently, where it's like, wow, he put himself away from everyone else.
Yeah. I think as well, that excites me, that comment, because I think when you're an entertainer and not just a musician, there's a difference in a musician, I think, a little bit. But then again, look at Jimi Hendrix, very out there, very flamboyant. And I feel that entertainment should provide not just the sound, but something to appeal to an audience for their eyes to see as well. Put on a show, it's show business.
Yeah.
So I'm very much in that mindset when it comes to show business, and my family were as well, because you can get as creative as you like and have all the fun in the world. And I love when I see somebody entertain. I love to see somebody put on a show. They're not just standing there. I mean, it depends on which artist it is actually, but I love to see a show. I love to be entertained.
Yeah. but as I said, when you have a style and the image that you guys had, it's it almost transcends just the music, because then we listen to the music different. As I said, when Michael
Yeah.
Jackson started wearing the sort of glove and everything, it's like, okay, Lionel Richie wasn't dressing like that. So, but you could see the difference in sales and attendance and stuff. It's just that he became a star that and so as I said, when you guys came out, I can, visually you stood out. Then you think about the music. And
Mm.
Madonna, the same thing. She thought, okay, maybe I need to start working on my image
Yeah.
alongside them. Yeah, so it's something that you guys did, and I don't know if it
Yeah.
was a conscious decision, or was it just like, oh, let's, or was it someone else is doing that, let's try and do that, the image and the
Oh,
style.
yeah. Well, I think from watching the greats and entertainment in a certain era,
Yeah,
we can take it all the way back to the Nicholas brothers, and Josephine Baker and all those beautiful entertainers, and they entertained us. And I feel that's what we went for, and that's what we believed entertainment was all about,
yeah,
not just getting there on stage and singing your bit and getting off. Entertain the crowd and enjoy yourself, enjoy your performance as well. There's a magic in it when you set yourself up to present an image as well, and there's an element of make-believe there that makes it even more entertaining.
yeah. How was it like being on stage in front of 100,000 thousands of people compared to when you were singing at home with just rest of the family? Because as I said, many of us will not experience, they won't on being on the cover of a magazine, but to stand in front of thousands of people and singing, what was that like? Was it nerve-wracking? Was it fun? Was it like excitement? I mean,
All of that, everything wrapped into that bundle of words. So exciting. You just get this rush of adrenaline, if that's what they want to call it, or this energy, and you're feeling the energy and anticipation from the crowd as well, from the audience. So that buzz is unbelievable. I don't think there's a word for it.
yeah,
It's just a feeling.
yeah,
And so it makes you get out there, and it makes you just do your best and give them your all, because they're psyched to see you. In your outfits, in your sequins, and the band behind it, just music blaring, and it's like it just takes you, somewhere else, to a life less ordinary, somewhere else.
And I've seen your posts where you're singing acoustic with your guitar, and I was wondering if back in those early days when you guys went talk, where you had those moments to say, okay, let's turn down the lights, and you just bring out the guitar and you just would sing a song, or was this something that you developed later on?
I think because of the song choices, there weren't any of those moments really. I think we were maturing and getting to that stage. But yeah, again, with song choice, it was always, because we're a group, it was harder to narrow it down to that type of performance. But it would have been lovely.
Yeah, my question was really, when you reflect back on the career you guys had as a group, especially you took over the 80s. If you could go back and make it changes, knowing what you know now, what would you think would be different with five star?
Definitely more individual performances. I don't think that was explored enough. Like I say, people like to be safe, Namdi, when they have a product and they like to use a certain process and a form. If it works, then they want to stick to that. So yeah, I'd say to expand on each of the individuals, exploring the talent more.
Yeah, New Edition did that.
Oh, I love what they did. Utilize them. I was like, these guys have got it down. And I don't know if it's because they were all boys, all male, and I don't know if that was it. But they seem to love the orchestrated pattern of 3 girls, 2 boys, female lead singer, and then yeah, they liked that formation.
Yeah, and as I said, spoken to a lot of R&B groups from the 90s, and that was the pattern where the label was going, like, we're putting in the money, this is how we're marketing it. And so
Yeah.
when when things are hot, you don't really mess with it. The stories that 90% of my guests have told is the fact that they get into the industry raw without knowing the business. They just know the music side, and then they
Yeah.
get shocked. Even Jodeci, when I interviewed them, they're like, "Oh yeah, we knew zero about the business. We only knew the music," and then they had to learn the hard way. That's the story of 90% of the other artists. Having your dad knowing the business was how valuable was that for you guys, knowing that he
invaluable, but there's still, you know, the piranhas and the sharks around, so you know, even we got bitten.
Oh wow, I didn't
You know,
know.
even having my dad around, yeah, it was like it was almost like in everybody's contract that was going to happen, you know. But it's the business side. If you really don't know it, Namdi, inside out like they do on the legal side of things and the business side of things, you know, we're all like surfaced, knowing what we know and going and doing a great, you know, performance and doing our work. And yeah, it's, I would say today, you know, to the youngsters out there, be privy to your business, be mindful of your business as well, you know, or have someone alongside you that you trust. Because I'm one of those people where, of course, I've learned a lot, you know, over the years as I've matured, but I would still, as an artist and an entertainer, performer, I still like to focus in on just that and have someone else, like we had Dad. Yeah, it's the best way to work. I know some people that say, oh yeah, I still do, you know, the production, I'm doing the artwork, and I've got the website, and I'm doing the performances, and it's like nah, that's not for me.
Yeah, no, and I've heard mixed messages from those who were just creative and they just wanted to be creative, but then what the lesson they learned was you needed to know the business. It doesn't mean you go and balance the books yourself, but you need to get people that you can trust. But
yeah,
because as you do,
I would say that's all the way to go, you know.
So the emergence of yourself, as you know, as I said, it's really lovely seeing those posts of you with the acoustic guitar. I like stripped down music. You know, not that I don't like. I mean, I'm Michael Jackson. I'm a biggest fan. But I do love stripped down. That's why I like a lot of what Adele does. You know, get a piano and just sing. You can hear the song, you can feel the emotion and stuff. So seeing you doing a lot more of that now is really lovely and stuff. But I wanted to know how you transition to that, because you know, you guys were big in the 80s, and then we get into the 90s when a lot of American R&B started to take the airwaves and stuff. How did that adjustment? Were you guys able to say, let's change our style and image, or the label will still say, no, we can still win it, and if we just keep to the same formula?
Yeah, that was the transition to being a more mature artist, band or group. Worked really well for some, and I think the younger you start, the harder the transition.
Yeah,
it seems to be less acceptable to sit from seeing you as cute bubblegum to ooh, you know, kind of mature, just more mature, and you know, you grow into yourself, and now you're a beautiful young adult, and it's like, oh, the transition is too much. People are not going to buy that anymore. They just want to see you at this stage, you know. Like with I'm going back to the Nicholas brothers, as they matured, they were like, oh, the sexual, chemistry or energy that they're portraying is way too much now. We don't want to see that. We want you to dumb back down to being just sweet and cute, and you know, we can sell to families, to kids, you know, it's more appealing. But no, the transition seems to be a lot trickier. I don't know why, because it's a natural progression in life to go from a teen to young adult to an adult. And I don't see the problem with that, as long as you transition along with your music and your audience. I think it's fine. But the business minds don't get it. The business minds are just thinking business, whereas, you know, I think if we had more people like us, the entertainers, in that position, put ourselves in that position, it would be a lot smoother of a transition, and the foresight of seeing that these things are possible.
But then how did you, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm a therapist, and I just wonder how you transition from the heights of global fame to, okay, the label's thinking it's album sales aren't not going to as big, and the tours and things aren't as big as they used to be. How do you manage and deal with that personally?
Personally, I felt when that happened, slowly but surely, as long as my family are okay, I'm good. Work is work, but my family comes first, and the well-being and the welfare of my family was my main concern, because that was how we grew up in our West Indian family and in our culture. It's mum and dad taught us always to share, always to be there, look out for each other. So as long as that was intact, I was happy personally.
Okay. But then was there the sense of, wow, what do we do next? How do we reinvent ourselves?
yeah, definitely. You know, how do we move on from here? Take a break, take some time out, and then, you know, rethink, reshuffle. But like I say, that whole transition thing again, Namdi, it's like, oh, you become tainted if, you know, you fall a little bit from where you were before. Nobody wants to touch you, you know? So it did become a tougher ride, you know, a tougher journey. But I think when you know yourself and you know your capabilities, and as long as you can get back up and brush off, you can keep going.
So then how did you then transition?
Geographically, everybody got more mature, started their own families, so everybody kind of split and went their own way, started doing their own thing. Me personally, playing the guitar, I never thought I could play the guitar, because you always hear people say, oh no, you should really start that when you're younger. It doesn't really work when you're older. So it was like, you know, you shy away from things and you think, oh yeah, I'm a bit too old to learn that now. But once I picked it up and started learning and teaching myself chords and making up chords, and developing a style on the guitar and how to have the confidence to sing more and to write more songs, it was wonderful. My transition then became very individual and personal and powerful as well, because, you know, my confidence boosted even more, because to do something by yourself and not be within that entity of being one with 5 others or 6 or whatever the case may be, you have to adapt and become that one thing. So when you are left to your own devices and you're solo by yourself, it's a really, really lovely development time for you. You can just be absorbed into that time and really find out who you are away from the others. So it's really precious time for me, actually.
And did you find doors open for you to express your music to, you know, like labels saying, okay, let's give Doris a chance? And
no.
Oh.
No, because I wasn't looking for that. I wasn't
Okay.
looking for that personally. It's growth and self-development, and the interest is there. I wasn't expecting that because, like I said, I've never been a solo artist or, an artist in my own right. So, yeah, this time has been so lovely. The growth for me personally is great. So, yeah, I've done some collaborations with other artists and writing my own things, So, I'm looking forward to 2022.
Thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, but most importantly to press the notification bell so that you can be notified when we do have a new interview. Loads to come, but thanks a lot for watching.
I begin to